It's not a trip, this is how I feel. Pop champagne, I'ma do it for the thrill. Escape with me, I'm saying it maybe. We could take off and then land on a jet ski. Baby, I hold it tight. Top shelf with it.
So we're gonna do Am I the Asshole today. Those are my favorite things to engage in on TikTok. So that's what we better. Have you seen them before?
I've heard of them before. Like I've seen a video, a reel or
Okay.
something where somebody's talking about it.
There are some days where that's every single swipe on my For You page is pretty much giving that, and it's like my favorite kind of days.
You have them on your phone? Did she send it to both of us?
Yeah, but I'm reading it. Ooh, I'm like one of them.
Okay, let's do this.
Please, this feels like reading aloud in class.
No pressure. Do I get to read some to you too? Or are you reading them all to me?
I don't know. We're gonna start. We're only doing one, and then we discuss.
Go from there. Okay, gotcha.
Am I the asshole for telling my mother-in-law she can never visit us or my sister-in-law again? Okay. My sister-in-law, Alice, is a single mom. She had her first child at 16 and her second by 19. Alice lived with her parents, but was often mistreated by mother-in-law, Pat. Okay. My mother-in-law is a mean, petty woman. She wore a light beige dress to my wedding, and anything I do isn't good enough. Me personally, the light beige dress to the wedding, that's already
well, especially if
not
you
on a
know
good
the bride is wearing white, because you know
Exactly.
nowadays people do what they want to do. But
it seems like a shady type thing, and she knew they couldn't clock her because it was beige, but she knew it was just enough to be shady.
Got
but
it.
We'll continue.
Next.
My grandmother died, and I inherited a double condo townhouse. My husband and I moved into one, and the tenants next to us moved out about 6 months ago. Alice is the sister-in-law. Alice was having a hard time, so I told my hubby if she could keep it nice, she could move in. Alice is working part-time and going to orthodontics assistant schooling. She's not a troubled person that my mother-in-law makes her out to be. In 6 months, she hasn't been a problem, and the boys are now 7 and 4, so not bad children, just boys. They remind me of my cousins. My mother-in-law was visiting Alice, and the 7-year-old was outside playing and knocking over a planter on my side. Not a big deal. My mother-in-law screamed at him and called him a little N-word because he's a mixed child. She's the asshole. Quick note, I meant to say she's not the asshole. The mother-in-law is the asshole. That's what I meant by saying she's the asshole. We could stop. We could stop there. We could stop there.
So
Literally.
So let me get this straight. It sounds like she's saying her sister-in-law. So the sister-in-law is the daughter of the mother-in-law.
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, because there's a mother-in-law and there's a sister-in-law.
This is what I was thinking. It's the storyteller's sister. It's the storyteller's own sister, but the lady they're talking about is the storyteller's mother-in-law. So I wasn't thinking that she's the mother-in-law because she would say...
But I thought it said sister-in-law.
Yeah, I think she's just her own. Oh, you mean...
So it's a lot of different things going on. It could be that the mother-in-law, like she's married
so yeah,
to
that
the
is
guys.
Her mom.
Or it could be she's married to the guys. Okay. The mother-in-law is her husband's mother.
Yes.
And the sister-in-law is the husband's sister.
It could be that, or the sister-in-law is married to one of the mother's children. Because that's also her sister-in-law, right?
Right, okay.
She could be married to
clearly, maybe that's not important to this, so.
But here, I'm like, is this real? Because it's like you had a mixed grandchild all this time, and now you're just now saying the N-word for the very first time when he's 7 years old.
See, and I'm just wondering, like, this couldn't have just come up just now. Like, I'm thinking about like what you said about the dress, the off-white or cream dress.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, the beige dress.
The beige dress to the wedding. Like, that's like, okay. You wore beige, I got my eye on you. Is that on purpose? But I'm wondering, like, how much petty stuff she been doing.
But also partly I'm like, is this real? Because I'm like, there's no way you're asking, am I the asshole when she called your nephew the N-word?
Right.
There's no way.
So what did she do?
Okay, so we're going. I was so angry at her. I told my mother-in-law to leave the property and not come back to visit ever. My sister-in-law was shocked, but crying, saying her mom often spoke to the 7-year-old like that. How did she get more than one opportunity is the crazy part to me.
Oh, that's...
Did it say that they're white, though?
It said the child is a mixed child.
But they might be... That might be the black side.
I assume, like, the black side telling the story?
That might be the black side saying, the grandma might be like, little...
Wait, huh?
I get the impression that the grandma's white.
I get the impression she's white.
Because they made a note to say she called the little boy the N-word. If that was a black mama that called the little boy N-word, that wouldn't even be a big issue.
Because they probably saying
Probably
it too.
But if I'm white, you know what I'm saying?
I'm white as in the girl telling the story?
Or if the girl telling the story is white, and the baby mama's white, the sister-in-law's white, then they might not understand about, the black grandma calling them that.
I mean, that is one way to look at it, but I was really thinking...
I have a feeling they're
with
all
as
white.
mad as she got...
Yeah. I have a feeling that they're all white and the black one is the child's father.
Yeah, I think you said the black one's the child's father.
Yeah. Like, so that kind of confirms to me, sister-in-law is the mother-in-law's daughter.
Yes, and then she had a baby with a black
black man. That's what it's giving.
And so the child is mixed.
Yeah.
And she
That's
called...
kind of what I'm gauging.
Let's go with that for all intents and purposes.
For all intents and purposes,
And she called that little boy the N-word.
She called that little boy the N-word. But yeah, the mom spoke to the 7-year-old often like that. To me, now I'm wondering, like, so what you got going on to where more than once your mom was able to talk to your child like that?
I'm seeing lack of boundaries left and right. Like,
I'm seeing blows thrown left and right. Because I'm sorry, how did you let your mom talk to your child like that more than once?
And she's done
now
it
I got my crooked eye on her. I'm sorry.
You know what though?
I got my crooked eye on
sister-in-law.
sister-in-law.
You know what I'm thinking of? I'm like, how much is the mom paying for your stuff? Are you living with your mom? Is she supporting you?
Maybe it's something like that.
The stuff that people put up with, all in the name of like, they feel like they have to put up with it because they're not independent. They depend on because like, why else would you put up, or unless you depend on your mom to keep your kids while you're at work? It just sounds like there's something over her. Even though
they don't be thinking stuff is that serious, even though she knows it's serious, obviously because it made her upset. Maybe it's not serious enough to them to that degree where she's like, well, let me cut her off the very first time she said it. Because she would have never seen my child again.
Period.
Because what?
Right.
Anyway, I told my hubby and he thinks we overreacted to his mom. And his mom just isn't used to children playing with because they weren't allowed to.
Hubby's white too.
Yes. And he's also the asshole, and so is his mother.
So is mom.
No, it's like,
Oh, that's problematic too.
That's also his mom.
Yeah, that's his mom, and that's his sister's mom. That was his sister.
They just like her.
So that's what it was. What I thought.
Yeah.
The one who's standing up, who's writing this,
is the one that's not related to them,
right? And she's probably white, because if she was black, who knows? She may have said that.
Yeah, but I feel like that would have been important.
But she's the only one standing up.
Smoke? That's probably what that is.
Yeah, somebody's food. But that to me, that's like a major thing where
that's major to me.
A race issue, and then like you're married to someone. Like Lord knows I'm not against mixed marriages or anything like that. But to me, that therein lies a huge issue, because
therein lies an issue.
If your mother called her grandson the N-word and you're trying to make an excuse for it,
and then
we have a problem.
Old husband talking about they overreacted. Like, it's giving. I mean,
that's
they
what
were
I'm
raised
saying.
by her.
They
were
raised
by her. So I'm like, that's maybe why I don't know.
But to just pass it off as just like, oh, she overreacted.
Yeah, no.
Come on.
She underreacted, actually. I told my husband a ball bouncing is not rough playing. It's an accident, and his mother's language was inexcusable under any circumstances. So for the boy's mental health, that woman is not allowed over him. And I know that's right. His whole family said I'm being dramatic, and Alice has the habit of over-exaggerating everything. But I heard for myself what his mother said, and in the 6 months of Alice living in the next condo to us, she has never given me the reason not to trust her or think she's an unfit mother or bad person. Oh, update. My mother-in-law is still insisting she didn't say that, and I misheard her. My husband and I are still arguing over it because he thinks his mother said it in anger, because the child broke something expensive. I don't think that's a valid reason to say that to a child or anyone ever.
Even if he did, even if she did, it's in you. If it's coming out of you, because if you're used to saying something, it comes out of you in those kind of situations.
That's what I'm saying. And me personally, if I'm the storyteller, me and my husband are sitting down having a real conversation on how we're going to move forward. Because if you're excusing it because she said that in anger, we got a problem.
Right. Because that means you're giving a pass for that. And that should be a non-negotiable. Like that's unacceptable.
Like, I feel like job one is acknowledged. That shouldn't be said.
That should never be said.
It doesn't even matter for anything. Me and husband, I don't know. He might not be husband.
Listen, kudos to the ally. Kudos to her feeling so passionate about it. Where she sets the boundary of, like, I'm going to show you how much it wasn't her child, but she thought enough to be like, this is my nephew, but this is a mixed child and you're talking to him crazy.
Yeah. And now that I'm thinking, for sister-in-law, it does say in the beginning, she lived with her parents, but was often mistreated by the mother-in-law. So she was living with them, which makes sense why she,
who was living with who?
The sister-in-law was living with her mom.
Yeah.
So it's like, maybe that's why she got that many opportunities to say that. And maybe that's why even though I still, like, you don't put your, let me not say too much. I don't have children.
Jerry said, the question is, was it a hard R?
No, literally. Literally. And she doesn't even say, they just have
but you know
in
what?
parentheses.
She doesn't have, if she is not a Black woman, she can't say the hard one or the A.
Right. Hard R is crazy, though. Crazier.
Yeah.
That's because of the way that it was spelled. That's what made me feel like she wasn't a Black woman. I mean, that the mother-in-law was a Black woman.
But she just said
she could have Black influences.
She called him a little N-word and just has N in quotations. Yeah. Yeah. So that's why
when they do that, they're trying to keep from saying.
I think she's white, though. Also, no, she can't. Mother-in-law can't be Black. Because
it's the baby's mixed.
Because that would mean storyteller, like, she would be talking to her husband, a Black man. Like, her husband would have been like, no, my mom's Black, and Black people say the N-word. But he was like, she just said it because she's mad. Like, it
sounds like everybody in this situation is white except for this.
Yes, except for the 7-year-old boy.
Except for the boy.
Who is called.
That's exactly how I took it. And whether she said a A or a hard R, you are not allowed.
Yeah, because I know not all Black people say the N-word, but I just don't see sister-in-law crying and brother-in-law saying, well, it was just said in anger, it's fine, because their Black mother called her Black.
And it's a white,
Yeah.
Like it was a black woman and a white man. No, that's not what it was.
Especially because, like I said, not all Black people say it, but like we'll like throw it around for fun, like term of endearment with, like, Jimbo will call me, whatever.
Yeah,
but
even though I don't like when he calls you that, but
I think it's funny.
I know you do. I use it selective. Usually when I start using that, I get real irritated with somebody.
Yeah.
Or I'm just being super silly.
Or we'll do it fly by night, like, stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, I felt like, I would agree with Shari.
She definitely is. And I personally feel like, she would never visit or see my sister-in-law ever again.
And
she would never be welcome in my house.
Kudos to her, because those are the type of boundaries that cause like major rifts in families.
Yeah.
So it's like when you make that decision, you're making a decision like, I've drawn the line in the sand.
Yeah.
And this could possibly affect my relationship, because, it doesn't go into that, but what's the relationship between her husband and his mom? Like, is it one of those, like, my mom can do no wrong and leave her alone?
See, and that's another thing. Like, you gotta really look at that, because you're defending your mom doing this. Like, what else are you gonna defend your mom doing? You know what I mean? I can't have that. If it comes to, like, being married, I can't have the whole, like, husband does not hold his mother accountable.
Yeah. Yeah, that, to me, that's serious, because I think about the Real Housewives with Candy Burris.
Yes.
And her mom. And she's like, well, that's my mom. That's my mom. And I was like, will somebody tell her that's an unhealthy way to think about this? Like, if your mom is wrong, respectfully tell her she's wrong.
Literally, just respectfully.
You don't have to be have to be ugly. You don't have to be mean. But literally, your husband is like begging you to realize, like, do you not realize what she's doing to me? Basically to us.
Yes.
And you're just passing it off like, oh, that's my mom. No, that's damage that's being done.
I think the idea of confronting a parent about something, to me, like,
it's taboo
to them,
for other.
Yeah, that idea seems like it's disrespectful on its own. Like, just confronting them, period, is disrespectful on its own. And it's like, no, you could say it respectfully. Like, you're within your rights to be like, this isn't okay with me. And if this keeps happening, we're not gonna be able to see each other as frequently, and we're not gonna da-da-da-da.
And let's be totally honest, we might as well open up this bag, which is like, in Black culture and in other cultures as well, there are a lot of things that are toxic that have been passed over as like, okay. And it is not okay, to be talking to folks any kind of way and thinking it's going to be all right. You end up on her chair. And I'm serious, like dealing with things that you were told as a child. Everybody said it to you. Everybody laughed about it but you.
Yeah.
And now you going on with the rest of your life struggling because you were at a position in your life where you were young and impressionable.
Yeah.
And so I just feel like you just really have to watch. I'm just sensitive to words anyway.
Yes.
I was always like that. Like, watch your words, watch what you say.
We weren't allowed to call each other stupid. We weren't allowed to call each other dumb.
We weren't
allowed to say shut up.
I don't know if you were allowed to say liar. Like, I don't know. I don't think that ever came up.
You would just be very particular. Like, are you saying that this person is a liar? Like, you don't just throw around liar.
Yes,
you don't just say every.
But the shut up, my mom didn't let us say shut up. Only because it's like if first of all, somebody's talking, you're not in control of them and you can't make them be quiet anyway.
Yeah.
But
you can't.
If you're trying and you want them to be quiet, shut up to me. And
Yeah.
I used to tell my students that, like, which one of those words, shut up or be quiet or can you be quiet, sounds like somebody will actually listen.
Yeah.
Because when you say that, you're just saying it so that you can feel good.
You also didn't want us to say fart. We have a say.
I didn't want you to say fart.
You didn't want us to. You didn't say you can't say fart, but you.
I don't
if
remember
you would
that
say
one.
fart, you'd be like pass gas. Like I distinctly remember.
Funny
you'd be
to
like
me.
pass gas, and we'd be like okay, pass gas.
There were a few things I didn't want, and to this day, I'm proud of it. I was just telling somebody this the other day. He was a student. I didn't let y'all watch SpongeBob.
Oh my gosh!
Because
no, let's clock all the stuff we couldn't watch.
SpongeBob was inappropriate, and they had all this little, innuendos and things, and I didn't appreciate it.
And we was eating up SpongeBob at our grandma's house.
You see what happened?
Getting down on some SpongeBob.
You see what happens?
But you know what? Okay, not that I'm saying I'm glad I disobeyed you, but people, you could tell the difference between adults who watched SpongeBob as a kid and adults who did not watch SpongeBob as a kid. Like, there are entire conversations you can be excluded from if you never watched SpongeBob.
And that's okay.
But I'm glad that I did because I like being a part of those conversations.
And that's okay.
It's fine. Like, when you talk about like certain stuff, like it's just, I don't know. But no, you didn't play. But you know what, Mom? I will thank you though. And I have talked about this on another video before. You understood what kind of kid I was. Sydney wasn't like this. But I was really affected by things that I would see. And stuff would genuinely like scare me for real. And I remember I used to think like, oh, when I become an adult, like I'll grow out of it. Like I'll be able to watch these certain things or whatever. Sometimes it almost feels like it's worse because I'm an adult and I know more. Like when you're a kid, you can kind of like let go of things. But remember when I was a kid? Or think
you're letting go of it.
No, Mom, remember when I was a kid and there would be phases of like me not eating for a while and you'd be like, Shari, what is going on?
Yes,
why aren't you eating?
I never knew.
And half of the time, I don't think I ever like told you.
You've told me since
Now,
then, like maybe this year or last year.
Yeah. It would always be because I saw something. I remember one time it was because of watching the Coneheads, that time at Miss Lynetta's house, and I woke up sick. TMI, but I was like really sick. I'm not gonna go into detail, but I was.
It would like break your appetite.
Yes, but I was.
It just
I was
messes
sick,
her
sick.
up completely.
And it's because the Conehead, even though it's a comedy, as a kid, I don't know, something was disturbing. It's like the shape of the head, and it just was not. There was a song that it's an actual song in real life, but it played in that movie. And whenever I would hear that song, my heart would sink. Like it scared me so bad. But even though it was a comedy, I feel like it was a comedy for adults. Like seeing a bald cone-shaped head as a kid, I don't know. That was
just too much for me. But I mean, you couldn't handle Oprah.
Yeah, but I'm getting to that.
Yeah.
So I couldn't handle Oprah. I couldn't handle the subject matter.
Yeah, that's what
show.
I mean.
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about.
Couldn't handle the cone heads.
Good to clarify.
To differentiate.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oprah,
the Oprah
person,
show.
Even though I'm not like a fan of Oprah, the person, the Oprah show. But I'm getting there. When we were at Devon and DeAndre's house and they were watching Ripley's Believe It or Not. Yes. And it showed there was an episode about conjoined twins. I had never seen conjoined twins before.
Wow.
Yeah. So that had scared me. And then it was also that same day, it was like this girl who like she used to chew on her hair. And then one day she went to the hospital because her stomach was hurting and they pulled out a stomach-shaped batch of hair. Those two things, I didn't eat for weeks off of that because I was really young, so I didn't understand. Another one.
Oh, wow.
The Feral Children segment on Oprah. That one scared me bad. But here's my thing. She knew as a kid that I didn't like Oprah.
Actually, I didn't. I didn't know that till...
I swore I would tell you.
No, you remember, as a kid, you were just kind of like...
Mom,
you
I
didn't
remember
really
telling
rustle
you, like,
a whole lot of feathers.
I used to tell you, like, I don't like Oprah. And you'd be like, Shari, why? Da-da-da-da. And I'm like, I don't want you to watch it while you do my hair. Like,
yeah, that's the thing. Around. I don't think you ever told me why you didn't like Oprah. And in my mind, Oprah was like the safest thing to watch.
Mom,
Like they
and
weren't
I
talking
s-
about rapists or, well, the times they were, I wouldn't watch it or anything. But
But feral children,
yeah, I was just
where
thinking she didn't want to watch
kid is
it.
running on all fours.
I thought that was, no, I thought it was
and it's
in
like
tr-
serious. It's not a joke. I'm glad
No,
everybody
no.
can laugh, but it was not funny. That was scary.
No, I think for me, it was like more informative. Like, can you believe like there are kids who actually their parents do that? Like, I wasn't thinking now.
Informative for an
Hindsight,
adult, but not a 7-year-old. I was like 7 years
Hindsight.
old.
you're explaining it. I can see that.
Yeah.
But at that time, I didn't know you were like terrified to watch it. Like
Mom,
I
when
would not
Oprah,
have.
when they announced that it was going off, do you remember me being happy? I was like, whew,
Right.
yes.
And at that point, we were living here. So
Yeah,
you
I was
were
like
in middle
12.
school.
I was like 12.
And I was sad because I used to watch. Let me tell you something.
But I
Quiet
used
as
to
kept.
tell you, though. Mom, I swear I used to tell you that
No,
I did not
I
like
promise you, it wasn't until you were older that I understood based on something that you said that it was like having that kind of effect on you. I just thought you just didn't like it. I'm like, I'm the one sitting here doing your hair. If I want to watch Oprah while I'm doing your hair, I watch Oprah. I wasn't
Let me be
thinking,
scared.
no, you never said, Mom, it scares me. I promise you,
I
you
could have
didn't.
sworn I did.
No, you probably felt it, but like, and I will say this, and you probably could speak to this if you really think about it. You didn't really start, like you would tell me stuff, but you didn't really start expressing like your whys till you got older.
I will agree that I didn't always express my whys, but I
Like,
swore I said I was
you-
scared of Oprah.
Yeah, like,
I swore.
yeah, but even that, I don't recall you saying, I just remember you saying you didn't like it. Because you being scared of it, like, do you see me just ignoring you because you're scared of it?
Mom, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like you could think that I'm like being dramatic.
No, that wasn't one. To be honest with you, I was more so focused on, I have something entertaining to listen to while I'm doing her hair. I wasn't even thinking that you were really scared. Your head will be down half time. I didn't even think you were
I'm
paying
hearing
attention.
everything. My hair would be
Yeah.
down the whole time. So it's like,
Well, on this day, I apologize for exposing you to the feral children. And what
I can
else?
watch SpongeBob, but I can watch them feral kids running around.
Well, no, I didn't expose her to Coneheads.
Oh, yeah. That
All
was
she
the
tells
other
me about is
person.
the feral children.
Honestly, most of the stuff that scared me, I saw at other people's houses, which is why I will say at the time when we were younger and you'd be like, oh, y'all can't watch this, y'all can't watch that. I would get irritated. But as an adult, I'm like, you know what? Who knows what kind of strife you could have saved me from seeing things too soon. Even when I got
You
in
can't
college,
unsee it.
yeah, I remember talking to my roommates and they were talking about like movies that they feel like they saw too soon that really like bugged them for years almost. I'm like, as a kid, I would feel that way. But I'm like, I wonder how much more I would have felt that way had you let us see
Yeah,
more.
the only thing you could speak to for me
has
was
not changed.
Oprah and feral children. Matter of fact, I think one of them I was watching on purpose because it was talking about, being abducted. And when you're abducted, never let them take you to the second crime scene.
I don't even
And in
remember
my
that.
mind, I'm like, oh, perfect. My kids get to hear this. They can, if they're ever in a situation, they will kick, scream, even if a gun is to them. Like, don't let them take you somewhere else. So in my
Yeah.
mind, honestly, I really thought I was doing good because Oprah was so informative. And a lot of people say things, but
did
The production team said that Oprah scared them too.
oh
my gosh, thank God. Thank God.
Not Oprah. Let's
I
make the
have never been
clarification.
able to-
The Oprah show. See?
Thank
See?
God. I feel so validated right now because when I bring this up, people were like, you were scared of, like people get so annoying. And I'm like, are y'all not seeing how that subject matter could be heavy for a child? Like, I feel like that was adult subject matter.
Yeah.
Wait, what scared y'all about her show?
The one with the dude with the burnt face.
Yeah.
She was always having something like that. And it's like, when you're a child, you don't really understand every single detail of stuff.
Yeah.
Being older, you can see something. It's like, oh, this is life and these things happen. 6, 7.
And I
I'm
guess
like,
for me,
what is going
when I
on
would
in
think
this
of
world?
things I wouldn't want y'all to watch,
thank
it
you,
was
Jerry and
usually
Jera.
something like sexual in nature
Mhm.
or gory,
Yeah, you didn't play
or
that gory.
blatant, or like spirits and
I
scary.
remember when you were like, y'all can't watch the Vampire Diaries. And I remember
Yeah.
being like, oh my gosh, we
Yeah,
should
like,
never let her see us
yeah,
watch it in the
stuff
first
like
place.
that.
We should have did a secret. Oh yeah, we couldn't watch Harry Potter. Watch it as an adult. Highly recommend. 10 out of 10. Oh my gosh, it's so good actually.
But yeah, my thing was, it was just certain things that were like overtly. And so when I'm thinking about, it's an awful thing, with the feral children, but I didn't know it would have that level of impact. Like
Yeah.
even a burned face. Now, if the burned face was like gory, I probably would be like, fast forward, or
Yeah.
she doesn't need to see this.
I've never met anyone else who had the same experience.
Do you feel seen?
Oh my gosh, yes.
You feel
I
heard?
tell it to people and they laugh. They think it's funny.
You tell people your age?
No, I tell people like that I was scared of Oprah when I was
Yeah, but I'm
younger.
saying, are they your age though?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's
And they
not
think it's
just
funny. And even as an adult, I can't even laugh about it. It's like not funny at all to me.
Would you be able to handle Oprah now?
Probably some of the stuff. Some topics in general are just a little heavy for me, but
Okay.
knowing things exist is enough for me. I don't always have to watch a deep dive of every single thing. I was gonna say,
But you're really good with deep
I was
topics,
gonna say-
but I get it.
Yeah, I am. There's certain stuff though, like I don't know, certain stuff gets me. Like I'll never be able to watch When They See Us. I'll just never be able to watch.
That was a hard watch for me.
And I also can't watch the Menendez brothers thing. I cannot watch that either.
I watched that.
Yeah. But what I was gonna say,
But I
we were
felt like I
talking about-
had to see When They See Us because that was a story
Yeah.
that always intrigued me.
Yes.
With the Central Park 5. And there's just something about being wrongly accused that like gets to me really
Yeah.
bad. Like I feel bad for people. Mhm.
Me too. That's part of why I can't watch. I can't think about false
And then you feel
accusations.
helpless, even though you know
Yeah.
they're gonna be freed. You do feel helpless.
I can't think about false accusations too much, or else it'll be too much for me. I have a fear of getting jury duty because they can't be having us. I get.
Shari, they're gonna
get why
ask
there
you a
has to be a
question.
jury.
You're gonna be so passionate. They'll be like, "All right, thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure.
We don't need
I'm gonna
her.
make
Thank you very
sure.
much. It's
They're
been
gonna-
great. It's been
Everyone's
nice.
been nice. I actually do have
I
to
actually
leave.
do have. I actually
Yes.
do need you to leave.
I'm gonna say something like they're asking me like, how do you make decisions? I'm gonna be like, I can tell somebody's guilty just by looking at him, and that's how I make my. And they're gonna send me
But
right
you know
on
what
home.
though? They are good at telling when people are trying to say stuff so that they can get out.
Please, I'm gonna be like, I let all the black people free. I wanna say something like that.
All you
Like,
gotta
I'm
do.
locking all the white people
All you gotta
up.
do is
Like,
go.
please, they will send me
Yes.
home.
All they
I'm
gotta
not
do is
doing
go back
that.
to your content on
Yes.
TikTok and be like, "Oh yeah,
Like,
she's
see
adamantly
about
for
me.
this."
But no, the thought of it, even though I understand some people like when it comes to jury duty, they're like, oh, it's our civic duty and da da da, and I think it's great. But to have somebody's fate in my hands like that, no matter how small, like especially if it's like a proof thing, if it's a proof thing, I can't be a part
Yeah,
of
it is
that.
major. It's intriguing to
It's
me.
so
I've never been called
hard.
for jury duty. I
Mhm.
think the only part I don't like is like the part that like you have no control. Like they tell you come, you wouldn't regardless of what you got going on,
Yes.
you gotta come.
Ugh.
You could be locked up. Interesting use of words, but you can be caught up there for like a day or it could be weeks.
Yes.
You're missing work and all they pay you a little per diem.
Oh Lord,
for
I
lunch,
just feel like,
like-
something should be different.
It's
like,
gotta be different. But when you think about it,
Mhm.
you know, nobody would do it really. Not for real. If
Mm-hmm.
they didn't require you to do it, you'd be like, oh yeah, I'll opt out.
I'm like, they need to put a little bit more money on that. People missing work. What about
Right.
people who get paid hourly and like
But you know what? That's a good question because I've never had to do it before. So I don't know if it's a thing of like, you still like your days off, they still got to pay you when you're off, or if you got to take the
Yeah,
days
'cause I'm
off.
like, what if you work as a server? There is no,
Oh, you're
you know what I
screwed.
mean? And you get
You-
called for jury duty.
You
I
get
would be so
you get lunch
upset.
paid for or something.
Yeah, I'm saying everything to get me off that jury. If that was my, because what are we even talking about? But another show you said we couldn't watch. I remember it was Parental Control, and that was one of the ones. There was a lot of MTV stuff you didn't want us to watch. It came on MTV.
Yeah, because I don't feel like MTV was for kids.
It wasn't. But I was eating that show up, and I remember
My
I would have my finger
You
on
weren't
that
home.
previous button.
You weren't. Oh, when I walk out, you would.
Yes, and switch it to Disney Channel real quick.
You know what? I can't stand. But
Man.
wouldn't I sneak up on y'all?
No, you actually never caught us watching anything that we weren't
But
supposed to
remember that
watch.
time y'all weren't supposed to be blind? Sorry, you don't want to talk about that.
You always just want to bring up something that.
Well,
like,
I didn't know.
nobody
I didn't know
else
that was a point of something. Sorry.
It's not. Go ahead. Like
Sorry.
you all, I swear, there are some times where we're in a group of people and somebody will like say something, and I will see the light in your eyes, and I know that you're going to.
How
bring
am
up
I
a
supposed to
story
know that?
I don't want you to bring?
How
up.
did I know that this one is one? You have never said to me, "Mom, don't bring up this story."
I haven't, but there are times where you'll be ready to bring up a story, and I'm like, and
Right.
it's a story that
But,
I know. I
right.
don't
Judge
wanna
me
bring
on
up.
this one. You've never said I can't bring up this one. So can I at least tell them? And if you want to cut it off, you can. I just think it's,
Whatever.
well, it's really not. They're going to think it's a big deal. When they hear it, they're going to be like, oh. Well, there were times that, you know, the girls would be put on TV punishment. They're not supposed to be watching TV. But they would get home before me. And sometimes I'm at the school late, what have you. So on this one particular day, I walk into the garage, into the living room, and her and her sister were just
It
sitting
was
there.
just me.
It was just you? I thought it was you and your sister.
Mm-mm.
See, I put your sister. Where was your sister?
Not home yet.
It was just her. And the reason why she feels this way is Shari doesn't like to do things wrong or like to go against, what she knows she's not supposed to be doing. So I walk in and she's just watching TV. The look on her face was
No,
like,
I had shut the TV off because by the time you had, it's just, I couldn't deny that the TV had just been on. Because I was sitting in the living room eating a sandwich and I'm sitting
Oh.
facing the TV. It was by the time the
two
garage door
violations,
opened.
eating in the living room and the TV's on.
Right. It was by the time the garage door opened, I turned the TV off and you were walking out.
Well, wait, if the garage door open, girl, that TV would have been off and you could have been in the
garage
kitchen
door
by
to
then.
the house, like coming into the house, opening that door.
Yeah, you could have.
And the door chimed. By the time the door chimed, I turned the TV.
Yeah, you could have made it to the.
No, I couldn't.
You couldn't have.
You know how our house is set up. You would have been like, "Why are you like? What was that?" I would have been getting up and walking real fast from the living room.
Okay.
You would probably wonder.
I don't
why I
know.
was walking
Maybe
from
I'm
the
thinking
living
it'd been
room
quick,
anyway.
but who knows? I probably would have picked up on
Think
it.
about how our house is set up. Like there'd be nowhere for me to be.
And
walking
what did you
from.
say? What did you say what did I say? Do you remember? And what
I
did you
don't
say?
remember.
I said, Shari, you watching TV? And I think she was like, yeah. And I could see the look on her face. And here's the thing about Shari, insight. She was the type of child.
I am.
Sometimes it was hard to punish her because she would feel so bad. Like I could truly tell that she felt bad for what she did. And for me, that's a punishment. You know what I'm saying? Like, depending on what it is, of course, I have my things in place of if you do this, this could happen. But like, I can't speak for all moms, or all parents, but one thing you want your child, especially when they do something wrong, and it's something that, they can develop habits of being sneaky or manipulative, whatever the case may be. Once you see your child like feels really bad about it, like for me, it was like, I might still be like, all right, go to your room or you can't this and that. But I wasn't really like, yeah, and why would you turn on the TV? And because like I could tell she got it. She got it. She felt it. And as you can see, here we are 13 years later. And you're still feeling it. Shari, I need your energy back.
I told you already. I didn't want you to tell that story.
Oh,
I
just said I can tell it and we can take it out. I can tell them. Are you going to edit it out?
I don't know now.
Well, you can see how it plays.
Oh my
But you can't be biased when you edit.
I swear, I just see the minute your eyes lit up. Whenever your eyes light up, I say she's gonna tell a story.
But honestly,
that I don't
at
want her to
some
tell.
point, you're gonna have to sit down. Like there are some you've told me already, like things that you're like, Mom, don't ever bring this up. Don't ever bring this up. Don't ever bring that up. Because I didn't think that was one of them. Because it just had to do with you getting caught watching TV. Big deal. Like.
Big deal.
Big freaking deal. I mean, think about it. That's really what it was. But I think it was the way you felt.
Yes, I hated that day.
So let's dig deeper.
No, you're not going to do that every single time. And you want to go like this.
You got to go
bad.
deeper.
No.
What makes you feel so bad about getting caught?
I don't know. I was a guilt-ridden child. I was just always feeling guilty about everything.
Did I make you feel guilty?
No, I think I just felt guilty about stuff when I did stuff wrong. I just felt guilty.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that wasn't something that I
No, you never guilted me about stuff. Like you did not guilt me. I just was naturally feeling good because there are some.
I'm just laughing about stuff later.
Right. There are some parents who guilt their kids, and I've like seen it, and I'm like, yeah, I actually haven't experienced it. I haven't been guilted.
Yeah. That's got to be tough.
I know.
For a parent. For a child.
Yes. And then they go on to be guilted by other people too. And then I feel really bad.
Isn't that something? It's like, what is it then that kind of makes you, and that happens with a lot of things, not just guilt, but there are things in which you experience something and then you find yourself constantly experiencing that.
You'll accept it from a partner.
Yeah, I heard Iyanla talking about it one time. And she's like, it's like the energy that you carry, you continue to carry this same energy that ends up attracting the very thing that you don't want, especially if you don't resolve it. Find some resolution and healing with it. But I'm glad to know I can sleep at night knowing that I haven't not guilted you as a parent, and I won't bring that up again if you don't want me to. You're welcome.
Um,
She said, I love it. I feel like I apologize every podcast for something. I've apologized.
else?
This was it. I think it was the second one. I apologize for
That was it.
for not getting you tested.
But you've also said that to me, but before that day.
Yeah, but I
You said
did it
that before
again
that day.
in the presence of
Yeah.
thousands, maybe millions of people.
Yeah.
You know?
Please, not
So-
millions.
No, claim the millions.
Okay.
Are you kidding me right
Deani like this? Jerry's nodding his
now?
head.
Yes.
Sorry.
Somebody get her out of here.
I know. It's always me. I'm the problem. I'm the
Right.
pessimist.
We have to speak it as if it were, because the thing about when you film, it lives forever.
That is so
It's
true.
now a digital footprint.
That is so true.
So we're going to talk about millions, and we're going to be looking back like, yeah, Shari,
Million.
remember that? Just like when you become a digital creator. And
gosh, I
you
know,
became, millions. And that's a whole nother story for another day. How many minutes in, Uri?
That kind of hurt.
37.
Well, that ain't bad. But I was gonna say, because I was trying to remember the other shows you didn't let us watch and why, because you had reasons for stuff, and I remember some of the reasons were funny. Oh, we couldn't watch The Simpsons because
that
because
was
Bart Simpson was disrespectful. You
not only
said.
that, but like Simpsons not meant for children.
Yes, we couldn't watch Scooby Doo for I feel like obvious reasons, I guess.
The ghosts and
Yeah,
stuff.
like ghosts and nothing about a ghost or a witch or
It was the ghosts.
You know
and
what? Some
spirits.
parents be like that. These kids running around. One time, that was out of the question. Anything on
I
Adult
don't even
Swim,
think that became a.
I never tried to watch it.
Yeah, that wasn't
it
even
wasn't
in
something I was
question.
interested in.
The main ones I remember were just SpongeBob and The Simpsons.
SpongeBob, me Bob. Yeah, SpongeBob, The Simpsons, and Scooby Doo. I remember were some of like the main.
I didn't even know
ones.
y'all were trying to watch Scooby Doo.
Mhm.
Listen, I was a single parent.
Yeah, I was just
trying to do the best I can.
Get this mic
Trying to protect y'all. And here's the thing. I think it's so important. This is just my thing. To protect a child's innocence. As you can see, when she got older, she wanted to watch Harry Potter. She watched Harry Potter. Like it wasn't like I was running around like tracking her. Oh, did she watch this? Did she watch that? Okay, she watched. She told me she watched it. I didn't turn over in the chair. Okay, you watched Harry Potter. But
I didn't turn
for
over
me,
in the chair.
I guess as a parent, I feel like I just take my job seriously. Like it is my job to kind of like mold and shape you and try to expose you to all the best of things, because life gonna hand you some ugly stuff.
Mhm.
Now, I think the whole Oprah show that was a that's an anomaly. I didn't know that would devastate you. I wasn't responsible for the cone heads, but like
I wasn't responsible.
But
for
once
the
you have
cone.
children, you get it. Like you look at your baby and you're just like, I have to protect you from the world.
Yeah, I was the one. Remember, I was the one who told LJ he can't watch Max and Ruby anymore when he was like 3.
What
Because
is
he was
Max
getting
and Ruby?
rude.
See?
Yes,
I feel justified.
He was getting real
I
rude.
feel justified.
It's because Max would constantly not listen to things that Ruby says. She would tell him, stay upstairs, don't eat this cake, don't da-da-da, and he would go immediately and do it. And I'm telling you, Mom, it's not in my mind. Are you listening to what I'm saying?
I'm sorry. My apologies. Go
Mm.
for it. That was actually an important text, but go ahead.
Okay.
Cut it
I was
out.
saying-
Stop judging me.
All right.
Because you were looking at your phone. Go
But
ahead.
I was locked in. I could have repeated what you said.
It doesn't matter. Go ahead.
Okay.
My gosh, she
I'm
wants to
saying-
get blood from me.
Okay.
Ugh.
But I was saying Max and Ruby was making LJ rude and not listen because Max used to not listen to Ruby. She would tell him like, stay upstairs, don't eat this
Bart
cake,
Simpson.
don't blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Cussing out his parents.
Your Bart was my Max. And he just was, and I remember I used to just watch LJ looking at it so intently. Like he's just so enamored.
That
And then
part.
for the rest of the day, I'm like, okay, LJ, it's time for you to go to bed. It's time for you to go to bed. No. And I'm like, you're not watching that show anymore. I said,
Exactly.
you can't watch Max and Ruby.
Kids are highly influenced. That's why you see these little videos, these little reels with the kids cussing out the parents, and the parents will have them repeat it again. And I'm like, it's cute now to that child. It ain't right. But in their minds is cute. Then they get older, they go to school, they cussing out the teacher, they cussing out the principal, they cussing out the folks in the store. You got to be so careful with that. But it's not until you have them that you like realize like, okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
And
I used to not play when it came to stuff that LJ was watching. I'd be like,
that's why it was so interesting to me when you said, I'm glad he don't be having his phone and stuff, because
I'm so glad.
Mom
I'm
number
so
2.
glad. I'm telling you, it really has changed who he is, like the kind of kid that he is. The fact that he doesn't know, like he could not tell you one TikTok trend. He does not know. And I
Or
know
he
might know
might.
some, but
'Cause-
there's stuff I will say in front of him and he just doesn't have a clue. And I'm like, good for you. Because everybody's so consumed. As much as I love TikTok, I love to scroll or whatever. I can tell that everybody's so consumed in it all the time. And it can be funny and it can be fun. And people be like, oh, I'm chronically online, da da da. But it's like, I don't want him to. Growing up in that changes, like, I feel like how your brain works. Like, it alters your attention span, even though LJ will jump around and watch 20 different things.
Oh, yeah, honey.
But he will also watch 45 minutes of somebody playing the same thing on a piano or somebody playing a harmonica.
This is
like,
true.
he'll be
This
so
is
locked
true.
into something. He's like,
And
fine.
here is the biggest thing for me. During the formative years, that's why a lot of things, when you hear about like whether people abuse, kids abuse drugs or different things, those formative years are major.
Yes.
Doesn't mean that they don't still kill brain cells as adults, but like as children, when your brain is trying to form and all these things are happening, the things that you're exposed to, the things that you consume, it really does have a major effect on you. So I was like, I took that seriously. I'm like, I don't want to be responsible for that.
And I'm glad that you did not get him a gaming system.
Remember, I did get him to
but he did not have a gaming system. He had a Nintendo Switch that he barely even ever played.
Yeah.
Barely ever. You didn't get him like full Xbox. You didn't get him full, and not that like everybody.
And he never asked for it.
He didn't. And it's not that. And I remember he used to say, "Oh, I want a gaming chair setup." I'm like, you wouldn't even know the first thing to do. I think you just heard somebody say it.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But not that every boy who plays video games it becomes so extreme, but it's common.
Honey, not just boys.
It's so
you have
common.
grown men.
That's
come home
where
from
I'm
their
going with that.
Professional job.
That's where I'm going with that. I will hear some women talk about like they will be on the game like for 8+ hours. I'm like, 8+ hours
That's
is
a
a
long
lot.
time. 8+
That's
hours
a
is
lot.
crazy.
And the stuff they say when they're playing those multiplayer games, especially for like Call of Duty and the stuff that they're saying on those headsets is terrifying.
How'd you get to hear that from TikTok?
Yeah,
or something?
people will play. Yeah, there are like girls who will go into those kind of games, and once they find out that there's a girl in the game, you've never heard the most vile things coming out of their mouth. They are 13. They are 12.
Oh wow.
The minute there's a girl on, and I'm like, this is what they're hearing. And then you have a bunch of men in the comments. They're like, that's just how it was. That's how we used to talk. And they're like 30+. And I'm like, I'm glad you didn't subject him to that. Because he wouldn't be able to tell you the first thing about what's going on there.
Right. But that whole thing about that's just men. That's just boys.
Like,
that's just girls. No, you cannot do that.
They don't have to learn to act like that. Stop just like letting go. And my thing is, I'm sorry, if I'm a mom and I'm walking by your room and I'm hearing obscenities, you know how fast the Xbox is snatched out the wall?
That part,
you'll never see it again in this house.
You'll never see it again.
What?
And I take so seriously that whole thing of like, once you become an adult, even though when you're an adult, you know, at 18, there's still a lot they have to learn. But like, I want to make sure I'm doing my due diligence by you. Once you become it, when y'all both came adults, it was like, not that I let go. I was still mom, but it was like, okay, now you really, really are responsible. I did the best I could.
Literally.
With what I had.
Literally.
To
and
try
I'm
to raise you in the bed. Because life is going to have all the twists and turns. Stuff's going to come at you. But at least you can truly say, and this really saddens me when I hear people say, I really didn't have a childhood.
That makes me sad too.
That
makes me really sad.
Heart, because, you know, life after that is like, I've had a job since I was 14. And, you know, at McDonald's, I was turning 15 3 months later, but like, I've been working for 40 years. Like, that's a long time to be working.
Yeah.
Right?
By the way, I'm glad you never forced me and Sydney to work.
Once
we
again,
talked about having jobs. I remember there was a couple places where I was like, oh, let's see about this place and you can take me here and I can see about getting one. But you never pressed the issue. I felt like I was able to focus on
Now, during the summer, I don't know if it was your senior year, hers, or junior year. I just remember during the summer trying to see about it, but it never. Remember the yogurt place? Was that you?
Yeah, very much. That was during the school year, though. That wasn't during the
summer. That was during the school year, but I think we were just going to try to do. But it was not. It will never be a forced thing.
Yeah, you never forced it.
Well, number one, I remember how it was for me. Like, I was working at McDonald's and I played sports. I played basketball, so it was like I didn't really have a whole lot of time to study, even if I was going to study. And so for you guys, I just didn't want you to feel like you had to. It's nice to have your own money.
Yeah.
So I wasn't going to say no, but definitely if I didn't think, I don't even think for real it came up because y'all were so involved in stuff.
You know what? We had a lot of after school stuff going on.
So you didn't even really have time to do that.
True.
And on the
Between
weekend,
after school and AP.
you're not trying to work. And so
Yeah.
I just was like, if it was something you really wanted to do and you were able to balance it all,
Yeah.
then I would have been cool with that. But same thing with LJ. He talks about a job. I'm like, boy, your first job
right.
is that school.
Right. Especially for him.
Take care of school, take care of home.
But he's low key.
And then we can talk about
He had jobs. He was doing the dog walking.
Yeah, but that's like in the neighborhood.
But no, I'm saying the fact that he walked that lady's dog for money, I'm like, that's pretty good.
And
for the
he
age
woke up
was.
early. I think he woke up at 6 a.m.
Oh my gosh, Mom, earlier than that. I remember he told me he was waking up at like 5:30 to get up, go walk Sunny, the dog that he was walking, and then come back and walk Coffee.
See, that's why I don't take no excuses from him. When he acts like,
right.
oh, I missed my, something happened with my alarm, this and that. If you
We've
can get up
seen
at
you
5:30 to go walk
So you can
Sunny,
get that money.
get that coin,
Exactly.
you can get up when you're supposed to get up.
I won't hold him though, because he does pretty well. But like he didn't give me and Sydney, there was a couple times we almost
Oh my
like,
God.
Him, he's pretty good. He don't really
He
have
is.
much
I
issue
would
waking
give
up.
him
I'll
that.
give him that.
Y'all were stressful. Let me tell you why y'all were stressful.
Y'all were stressful.
I'm not, the fact that I have a job
That's what used to stress you
that
out
requires me to be not just a morning person, but to be on
Yeah.
in the morning. And I've done that for like now in education for like almost 30 years is crazy to me.
Yeah.
Because I'm the last person that wants to be up at 5:30, 6 o'clock, getting ready
Yeah.
to go to work.
We used to
And
really
so,
stress you out sometimes.
I was
Mom.
already not motivated. Like once I get to work, I'm fine. But I was
You're
already not
already,
motivated.
yeah.
And I'm having to push y'all. Remember, one time
Girls, you sprayed us with water. We thought it was funny.
yeah, I did it to you. Like Sydney started getting up, right? She still didn't want to get up, but she didn't want to.
Mm-hmm.
You, on the other hand, I would go in there, wake you up, turn around, go back, come back, you're back asleep. You think that's funny. So then I'm like, come on, girls, come on. And then finally I was like, I saw it somewhere. I can't remember. I know it wasn't no TikTok. And I said,
right.
I'm going to start putting water in this water bottle and spraying her
Mm-hmm.
so that she will get up. This is how you know Shari was a different child. She got sprayed. She thought it was funny. She was laughing. She tried to make it a game. I'm like, Shari, I'm not playing with you.
Trying to make it a game.
She's just like, yeah, like dipping and hiding. I'm like, Shari, I'm not playing with you. I'm being serious. Get out
just
this
had a
bed.
sense of whimsy,
And then
that's
on the
all.
other side, Sydney's now like, I'm gonna start sleeping later because Shari gets to stay in the bed too. I'm like, no.
To this day, Sydney be like, you were getting extra sleep. I'm like, Mom wasn't
No,
letting me.
I
She
never.
was fighting with me.
Yeah, there was no, I'm letting her get extra
Yeah.
sleep.
I
Oh,
was
wait.
just making
Can I
the
tell
choice
this
to lay back
story?
down. You were pulling me right back up.
Can I tell this story?
Go ahead, storyteller. Go
wait,
ahead, order.
Wait, watch yourself. Not too much on me.
Please.
You'll remember this one. She was so slow getting up. Like that's what stressed me out. Once she's up,
yeah.
she's still moving slow. Shari marched. You want to talk about march to the beat of her own drum? Shari Dion.
I didn't realize it then at the time.
And she was always like, and then I would have to, they would eat breakfast at home. Shari, Herbert, eat your breakfast, get out there.
Now I
So-
rush all the time.
I know, and you shouldn't, because then that means you're in a rush in the car. But that's another story. So they're eating. Sydney's finished eating. They go out to the front door while they're dodging the birds that might come and swoop over
Right.
them. So they're standing at the front door. There was a kid who lived down the street. Once in a blue, Darnell,
He would come catch the bus with us
and catch the bus,
sometime.
but it wasn't like often enough to where
Mhm.
it was something that was every week even. And so this one particular day, the bus was coming. Sydney was outside and she was like, the bus is coming. And I'm like literally like pushing Shari out. I'm like, hurry up, get out. And Darnell had walked over too. And so Sydney gets on the bus. Darnell gets on the bus. Here's the bus. Shari's walking like this and the bus starts moving. This is a true, I knew I would get your attention. The bus starts moving, like the arm opened. So she was like in front of the arm, behind the open.
The arm started closing.
Well, no, it wasn't. Yeah, the arm started closing
Which
because
means he was getting ready to
move.
start moving.
And I was standing when I tell y'all, Shari is alive today because I was the careful, concerned parent. I would stand, even though they were at my front porch and the bus was there, I would stand and watch them get on the bus every single day. And I'm so glad I did that day because words couldn't even come out of my mouth. When he started moving, I was like, ah! Like that's all I could do. And then he didn't even see. He just pressed the brake and looked at me. I was like, Shari. At that point, I was talking, and then Shari was just like, it's like she was startled a little bit, and then she went around the arm and got on the bus. I literally
remember it. There was nothing.
Because it's big, so it's like the top of the bus, and this is Shari right here. And so I remember
I wasn't jarred at all is the crazy part. I remember it moved and I remember just taking a little step to the left and just kept on walking. Because by the time you screamed, it had kind of stopped. So I would just kind of like move to the left.
His name was Mr. Hovis. And let me tell you something.
And we were mad at her.
No, but let me tell you what happened. I walked in, because you know when you're in shock. And then I walked in, I was like, he could have killed my baby. Like,
that's actually so
even
scary,
right
Mom.
now. Oh my gosh. I was just like,
it could be very different.
He could have really killed her.
Yeah. And we like to laugh at it, but if we really think about it.
Yes. If I was not standing there.
Yeah.
Because she was not moving that fast. It's just when he stopped and she was like, oh, and then she went around. Mm-hmm. And I just remember being in my dining room, I started crying. I was just like, just thanking God for protecting you, because I said this morning could have went totally different. And then I started thinking like, should I have reported him? You know, I know it was an accident, but that's a serious accident. And so the girls, no, we love Mr. Hovis. Don't report Mr. Hovis. And for
Let me say something. I doubt, I don't want to say I doubt he's still alive, but he was old then. Mr. Hovis was the sweetest man you have ever met in your life. Me and Sydney will never forget, because I remember he had to have been like upwards of 60. And he
Let
had
me
white
say this
hair,
so everybody can hear me.
Sweet, kind blue eyes.
I don't
She's
care
never cared.
how sweet he was. Had he taken my child that day, I would have owned half of the school system.
Yeah, you would have owned Madison County.
Madison County school system. And I worked for them.
Yeah. You really would have owned them.
I'm telling you, I was shooketh. And here's what ended up happening. For
so
those
bad.
of you,
Mr. Hovis
he felt bad about it. And from what I understand,
Mr. Hovis, if you're watching this.
He saw 2 people get on the bus.
Mm-hmm.
He was used to 2 people getting on the bus, but not 3.
He was an autopilot.
He was an autopilot.
Like, he picks up these kids every day. He knows he has 2 at this stop, and he probably.
But when you have a job that could possibly be dangerous, you can't afford to be on autopilot. You can't just be so robotic or like rote.
When you have a certain kind of job.
When you have a certain kind of job. I think that's when it's time for you to do one or 2 things. Either self-correct permanently or leave permanently. Yeah. Because you're a disservice to the people that you're serving.
I wonder how long Mr. Hovis kept driving buses. He was driving for a while.
Let me tell you something.
We love some Mr. Hovis.
To this day, when I think about that, if it could have been, for those of y'all, she's talking about how much she liked Mr. Hovis. Had I not been at that door,
so cute.
She wouldn't be able to influence the world.
Mom,
you think I'm being dramatic?
It's just she wouldn't be able to influence the world is a bit much, because it's not the world.
It's facts. It is the world. You have people in different countries that watch you. There she goes downplaying stuff again. I think it might be time for us to wrap this up.
It's not even that. It's just I don't want to give like I influence the world. Like that's just not even my vibe.
I am saying it because it is a true fact. When I'm looking at your comments, and then when I'm done, I would love for the therapist to step in if she could. But when I'm looking at,
because you always have to do that.
Sorry,
Deani, don't say a
and
word.
And now you're telling people what to do. You make it hard for people to like give you your flowers. Shari, you do
can get flowers, but I don't like that kind of language. I don't even say stuff like that.
Right, I do.
Okay, right, but I can't be co-signing like, oh yeah.
Nobody told you to.
Like,
nobody told you to. I'm not here for you to co-sign what I'm saying. Okay. I'm telling you what I know. You don't just influence people in the United States. You influence people everywhere. You can say thank you. You can say nothing, but don't try to take away the praise that I'm giving you.
Okay, praise.
See, now you're minimizing it.
Sorry.
And now these people,
I didn't realize that was going to be.
These people are about to see Mama Rachel.
Okay, sorry.
Can you just take it?
I can take it. I don't like those kind of descriptions. I don't like those.
You've already expressed that, but it was a compliment.
Okay. Taken.
Well,
you love to do that breath.
Right. Well, it sounds like this is a wrap. This has been So Tell Me This. This has been So Tell Me This Sundays.
Right. See? Yeah.
Join us again. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Shari.
Bye.
Bye.